Hello, class. This is Demetrius Wilson again, and we are now here with Chapter 9 in Small Business and Entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about numbers and accounting, a little bit of financial, a little bit of managerial, and a lot of times that's not the most appealing or fun or sexy part of small business and entrepreneurship. But it's something that's very important, very imperative to the success of your business, whether it be small or large. You have to have someone to deal with the numbers. It is very, very important. Things will not go very far if you don't have your math and your numbers correct. So we're going to talk about Simeon Consultants LLC, and it gives you a good idea of how important people who have those certain skills in terms of accounting and finance and things of that nature can be to certain businesses and business functions. Because especially if you're in a have a small business, that might not be your expertise, might not be something that you're even good at, and you may need to utilize someone else to help you out with those different tasks. And like I said, I'll try this particular lecture. I'll try and keep fairly short, because it's not as much. You just kind of have to do the reading in this chapter and figure out the different terms and definitions and the formulas and everything like that. On the quizzes and the tests, it won't be a lot of like formula type stuff, but we'll ask you some questions in terms of the definitions and knowing and understanding what they are and how they work and how they would work in a small business that you may own. So it says healthcare is the largest single industry in the United States economy. I myself worked in insurance for quite some time for different companies. With under that same umbrella. But when you think about healthcare and things of that nature, when there are pandemics, when there's recessions, there are things that you have to have, and a nurse is one of them and the mechanics another, and there are a lot of other examples, but you have to think about those type of professions that are pandemic and or recession proof. So currently, healthcare represents nearly 17% of the gross domestic product, or GDP, encompassing nearly 600,000 establishments and employing more than 14 million people. The healthcare industry covers an extraordinary wide range of business and operations. It includes large hospitals, diagnostic laboratories, nursing care facilities, and other offices of doctors and dentists. Each establishment has individuals that possess considerable expertise in their respective disciplines. However, they may not possess the knowledge or expertise that would enable them to manage their establishment in the most efficient manner. And that really makes sense. And that is where firms like Simeon Consultants LLC play a vital role, right? We just don't have the expertise or the time to handle these numbers, and we need someone to help us out. Simeon Consultants LLC represents the evolution of consulting companies that have spun off from many accounting firms. Accountants are no longer merely reconciling accounts or preparing tax returns for their clients. They are now offering a broad range of consulting services. Simeon Consultants LLC provides expert assistance to hospital-based and hospital-affiliated home health and hospice agencies, visiting nurse associations, small property agencies, and large national chains. They provide service that one might expect from a firm whose origins were in a standard accounting practice, such as assisting in accounting receivables and cash flow management. Other accounting services that they provide include financial analysis, reports, and preparation of cost reports for the federal government. They can conduct in-depth cost analyses at the detailed and granular level, so that the clients can improve their operational efficiencies. The compliance division consulting services include working with healthcare attorneys, corporate compliance and audit departments, and government agencies such as the Office of the Inspector General. Its clinical operations division works closely with financial consultants to improve the financial health of its clients. So what makes Simeon Consultants LLC distinct in the ability to go beyond these basic accounting tasks and provide vital ancillary support for clients in this niche market? They are in position to conduct evaluation of businesses, or assist in mergers and or acquisitions. And they help the clients with preparing a prospectus or assisting with negotiations. Their consulting services can advise on how a client can maximize its return on an information management system by identifying system requirements and specifying possible solutions. In addition, the company has developed a software product, the Financial Monitor, that provides quarterly home health and hospice reports with multiple value benchmarks, including national, state, and profit status norms to help their clients and the industry to make informed financial decisions. A measure of how firms such as Simeon Consultants LLC have moved beyond balance accountants or accounts is the company's ability to support a client's marketing functions. The firm can help build comprehensive marketing plans and assist clients in developing and improving sales materials and training. So they're doing quite a few things to assist with their clients. Simeon Consultants LLC began its work in the home health care industry more than 40 years ago, so they stood the test of time with an agency in Hamden, Connecticut. It was the vision of William J. Simone Jr. or Simeon Jr., the founding member, who saw an opportunity with his brother Robert Simeon, the managing principal, and dedicated team of principals, management, and staff. William Simeon has helped Simeon Consulting LLC become one of the leading home health and hospice consulting companies in the United States, with over 1,000 clients. Robert Simeon says that the company is only as good as the people who work for it. And Simeon Consultants LLC has the best home health and hospice consultants in the country, and that's great. And you just see how there are a variety of functions that if you choose to go into accounting or finance as a profession, there's always going to be a job out there for you. But then there's also going to be some, different non-traditional opportunities like assessing and helping a company, because a lot of times those numbers are things that fall by the wayside. So here are a few learning objectives for this chapter, or this portion of the chapter. Understand why a basic knowledge of accounting is important for a small business. Understand the importance of selecting an accountant to enhance the overall operation of a business, and define the two major approaches to accounting system, cash versus accruals. So Warren Buffett, if you guys don't know, who he is, you should look him up. Very, very famous, very, very rich, making a lot of correct financial decisions. I believe he still resides in Nebraska. And Warren said that accounting is, to put it simply, the language of business, right? So if you don't know this language and you're not fluent in it, you're going to have some problems. Without a fundamental understanding of this language of accounting and its set of rules, you really do not know what's going on with the business, right? You can think, you take a snapshot and you think this is how it looks, but that's not necessarily how it really looks. If someone's considering starting a business, he or she should possess some degree of fluency in this language, right? And if you don't have that degree of fluency, you need to go, get it, and then work your way through it. So accounting is defined by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants as the art of recording, classifying, and summarizing a significant manner and in terms of money, transactions, and events that are in part at least of a financial character, or interpreting the results thereof, right? Like I said, it is simply the language of doing business. So put more simply, it is essentially information system. Accounting provides critical information to potential investors and businesses, managers. Accounting may, in fact, be one of the oldest information systems known to humans. So check that in your textbook, and it's quite interesting what they say about that relative to history as well. So of course, this system is important in providing appropriate information to the external community. For this audience, the term financial accounting, right? So the things that go out to the outside is often used. Bankers, angel investors, venture capitalists, and or the government. Same accounting information will also be part of a competent important component of internal controls. But on the other side, you have managerial accounting, and that's the systems and policies by which you make a firm more efficient, right? So this is internal. In this role, an accountant can help develop appropriate policies. An accountant can play a critical role in developing business plans, right? So you have to have that portion in your business plan. Can't forget about that, particularly with respect to budgets and financial statements. Without a budget and things just go run wild, it's never going to be successful. In a cash-based accounting system, a transaction is recorded whether when the money is either received or spent. Financial statements provide critical information that will be required for the successful operation of the business. They are not only necessary for tax purposes, but also provide critical insight for managing the firm and addressing issues such as the following. And these are very, very important questions. They're in your textbook. If you're not looking at it, reading that, make sure you write these down. Are we profitable? Are we operating efficiently? Are we too heavy in debt, or could we acquire more debt? Do we have enough cash to continue operations? Been in situations where they haven't. And what is the business worth, right? You always have to have something where you can reference back and answer those questions. One should think of the balance sheet, and I think that's on the quiz statement, as a photograph, right? So you take a snap or like that because it's phone these days, as a photograph taken at a particular point in time, which images the financial position of a firm, right? The balance sheet is dominated by what is known as the accounting equation. So put simply, the accounting equation separates what is owed from who owns it. Formally, the accounting equation states the following: assets, right, equals liabilities plus owner's equity. So let's talk about those terms. Assets are economic resources that are expected to produce a benefit in the future, right? They're expected to, give you a benefit. So if you have a big manufacturing plant, right, you would expect to reap some benefits from that big manufacturing plant. Liabilities are the amount of money owed to outside claims, right? So money owed to people outside the business. And then owner's equity, also known as stockholders' equity. And so, like I always say, more so in business one, stockholder, shareholder is two different things. Shareholder means you're taking some responsibility in terms of, the project. Stockholders is mostly based on financial. Represents the claims on the business by those who own the business as specified. In the accounting equation, the dollar value of assets must equal the dollar value of the business's liabilities plus the owner's equity, right? They have to tie into each other. Before proceeding with any numerical example, we want to define some of those important terms. So you have your current liabilities, and these are debts and obligations that are to be paid within a year, right? So very current, they have to be paid within a year's time frame. These include notes payable, accounts payable, other items payable such as taxes, wages, and rent, dividends payable, and the current portion of long-term debt. You have your cost of goods sold, right, or your COGS, as they call them in a lot of business classes. So your cost of goods sold is money that you spent, right? So if I buy a stereo, right, or I buy a phone, and then I sell the phone, right? I bought the phone for $500, I sell it for $1,000. The cost of goods sold, right? We have to, pay attention to those costs as well, right? Because, goods are going out of the door. So that's cost of goods sold is composed of all costs associated with the direct production of goods and services that were sold during the time period, right? So, sometimes that can be confusing, but let's read it again just to kind of cap and know and understand like where we're going with this. It's associated with the direct production. So if it's associated with the production of those goods, then it falls in that category. And like I said, the cost of raw materials used to produce the goods, costs associated with production, such as direct labor. With these two values, the first measure of profit minus the profit, and gross profit can be calculated, right? So you have your gross and your net. Like, so when you receive your paycheck, your gross is that number that says, oh, this is how much I got paid, and your net is how much you actually got paid after taxes, right? So you have to really be careful and cognizant of those terms and what they mean. I think like on the quiz and the test is pretty straightforward. Reading the text, if you are confused, ask a question. It's not like as in layman's terms as I may say it. So some of the things may have an issue, determining unless you have someone who's very fairly well versed in accounting. Operating expenses, right? It's the cost of doing business. I'm sure you guys have heard that plenty of times. So there are expenses that are incurred during the normal operation of business. Operating expenses can be broken into four broad categories. Selling expenses, right? So that's how much you're selling, how much you're paying those salespeople. General and administrative expenses, right? How much you're paying those individuals as well. Depreciation and other overhead expenses, right? Because just because you bought a building for $10 million doesn't mean it's going to remain at that cost, but it may. Um, you know, so administrative expenses, depreciation, other overhead expenses, selling expenses, and would include all salaries and commissions paid to the business's sales staff, right? So anything that's used to pay them, like I mentioned before they even said that, commissions, salaries, all of that, and then you kind of come up with, how much have we actually made? Because you can make as much money as you want. If that money's going out the door and you're not retaining those funds, then now you have an issue. So, for example, you know, if you look at something and you take like a product and you sell that product for $100, if the cost of you getting that product and then shipping it out or using the service or doing something, if the cost of that is higher than the funds that are coming back in, then you have a definite issue. You have a definite problem. So the operating expenses are not meant to scare anyone, but they are, expenses that will come about. Same thing with, things in depreciation of buildings and things of that nature. You do definitely take all those things into account. But really have to be, you really have to understand operating expenses because, like I said, it's the cost of doing business. You have to pay salespeople. You have to pay the customer service unit. Most of these things are going out of the door because of salary that's paid to individuals, as opposed to buying like raw materials or something like that. So that's it. Like I said, I'm gonna try and keep it pretty short. Wanted to keep it at 15. I'm at 17 right now for this week. I just want you to make sure that you read the chapter or watch the lecture, right? Read the chapter. Make sure that you answer the discussion questions or discussion question and respond to the posts from your classmates. And then I thought it was one more thing. And then obviously take your quiz as well. Didn't have a quiz last week just because we had the test. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to assist. And we're moving right along. Get done with this, chapter 9. And then we don't have too much longer. That time will definitely fly. I know it flies by probably faster for me than it does for you. But like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll be glad to assist at any time. Thanks a lot and have a great day.